So one question that has probably been on our minds since we started watching Dragon Ball is what would have happened to Dragon Ball Z or to the characters if Goku married Bulma instead of Chi-Chi. Now, this is actually a lot deeper than you might think because it actually would have impacted literally everything later on in a very, very major way. Now, assuming they got married around the same time that Chi-Chi and Goku originally got married, I still do think that they would have a kid, and I still do think it would probably be named Gohan. I'm just gonna call him Gohan just for simplicity's sake. But just keep in mind that this is not the same Gohan that we've seen the entirety of the show. This Gohan is the son of Bulma, right? Anyways, so the little Raditz mini saga is gonna essentially play out the same way as it did originally. Gohan might be a little less shy because Bulma's more open to having her kid train, as seen with Trunks later on in the original timeline, versus Chi-Chi raising Gohan and Goten. She didn't want them to fight as much, especially Gohan when he was a kid. That's not gonna happen here with Gohan. He's gonna be born and raised fighting, and he might even enjoy it a little bit more. Now, again, like I said before, this is very early on, so as things progress, things will change more and more drastically. The Raditz saga will play out based essentially how it did before. The Saiyan saga will play out very similarly. Piccolo's gonna take up Gohan to train. Towards the end of this saga, Gohan might have a little bit more potential as he is more given to training and less studying. Now we proceed with the Frieza saga. Now here's where things start getting a little bit more interesting, because originally Gohan, Krillin, and Bulma went to planet Namek. Now Gohan, being the kid of Bulma, she might be a little bit more protective of him. And as much as I want to say that she would not let him come, I still see him coming, because realistically, out of the three of them, he's on par, if not stronger than Krillin. Because Gohan didn't really have a big impact on the rest of the Frieza saga, that's gonna portray itself very similar to the original timeline. Now things start getting a little crazy towards the Cell saga, because you got to keep in mind that future Trunks came back in time, but in this timeline Vegeta and Bulma never get together because Goku already married Bulma, and I don't see Vegeta marrying Chi-Chi. This isn't if they swapped wives, this is what would legitimately happen if Goku married Bulma. So essentially, before we get into the Cell saga, we got to kind of keep in mind what happens in the Android saga to cause future Trunks to go back in time, right? He grows up in a crazy world with Gohan. Gohan ends up dying, right? In this alternate scenario, there would only be the Gohan who is the son of Bulma, so it would be them two remaining. And I don't think that this Gohan would die to the androids, primarily because Gohan took the risk because he knew that there was somebody that would replace him. In this scenario, he's the last Saiyan, so there's nothing he can do. Much like Trunks, when Trunks was the last one, he came back in time. So very similar to that. Gohan in the anime, he held him off for years. Realistically, he would hold him off until Bulma gets the time machine up and running. He's gonna go back in time. He's gonna do the same thing that Trunks did originally. He's gonna kill Frieza and King Cold when they come back to Earth. He's gonna see Goku, and they're gonna have a little bit of an exchange, because keep in mind, it's going to be a little bit more emotional because they're father and son, right? So he's going to warn them of the androids, and when the androids do come around, obviously Cell's going to be lurking somewhere. Things are going to portray very similarly until we get to the point where they have to enter the
Hyperbolic mind chamber.
No.
Hyperglycemic crime chamber.
You get one more.
Hyperbonics rhyme chamber.
hyperbolic time chamber, right? In this scenario, we have an adult Gohan, we have a kid Gohan, or teen Gohan, and we have Goku and Vegeta. Now, Vegeta's not gonna go in with one of those brats. He's not gonna go in with a new Saiyan. He's gonna go in with Goku, realistically. Kind of like what they did in Dragon Ball Super. Keep in mind, Vegeta might be a little more ruthless here because he doesn't have a kid with Bulma. He doesn't have anything really tying him to the humans. But for consistency's sake, he would still be there. I think in that sense, things would play out very similarly. Those two would go in, and keep in mind, they had different plans going into the hyperbolic time chamber, so they're gonna come out different as well. But they're also gonna come out, I think, a little bit stronger. Because Goku's definitely going to be stronger because he doesn't have to worry about training Gohan, which is what he did originally. He's going to come out a full power Super Saiyan stronger than before. Vegeta, on the other hand, I don't believe it would go as a full power Super Saiyan. I feel like he mentioned that he wanted to ascend, so he would still reach the Super Vegeta state and maybe beyond to the one that Trunks got, Super Saiyan Grade 2. Obviously, Goku knew how to do that as well, but he just chose not to do it. I think Vegeta would, and it'll really show later on. Second, going to the hyperbolic time chamber, when it was supposed to be Goku and Gohan, it's going to be future Gohan and teen Gohan, right? They're going to go in, and I kind of see see this being very similar to the future Gohan and future Trunks relationship, right? Kind of like the mentor and mentee kind of scenario. So obviously future Gohan, keep in mind, this is the child of Bulma. Future Gohan would have Super Saiyan already. He would be very similar to Goku in the sense that he would train this younger Gohan to achieve Super Saiyan as well. And realistically, before going into the time chamber, Goku and this future Gohan would probably be around the same strength, because this Gohan would be around the same strength as future Trunks was when he went back in time as a Super Saiyan. So due to power scaling, he would probably come out very similar as well, because he's training with another Gohan. Maybe a little bit stronger, again, because this Gohan has been more given to fighting and less in his studies for his entire life, and they might potentially emerge out as full power Super Saiyans as well. Now, the encounter with Vegeta and Cell is going to play out very similarly to as it originally did, because even though Vegeta's stronger, Cell is still going to become, he's still going to let him become perfect Cell. Honestly, Vegeta's going to be even more overconfident this time, because he's even stronger. He can reach Super Saiyan Grade 2. They're going to fight. He's going to get destroyed. He's going to go Super Saiyan Grade 2 and still lose, kind of like what Trunks did. But this time, Goku's going to be there, because keep in mind that while Goku and Vegeta are fighting, Cell, future Gohan, and Gohan are going to be in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. So they kind of miss on that exchange. But full power Goku's going to be there, and they're going to have their little exchange. It's going to be kind of tough for Cell at this point. It's going to be kind of tied, so obviously the Cell game is going to happen, right? Fast forward to the Cell games, Goku's going to start off again. Once again, he's a full power Super Saiyan, but he was training with Vegeta this entire time, so he's stronger, so he's going to be better off fighting Cell this time than he was the first time. In the end, Cell is still going to blow up. He's still going to kill Goku, but I don't think, and then he's going to come back as a super perfect Cell, right? And originally killed future Trunks, but I don't think he would kill this future Gohan, because this future Gohan has far more experience than the future Trunks did. At that point in his life, he was like 17 or 19 when he came back. This future Gohan is much older. I don't think he would die to the beam shot through future Trunks' chest. I think that would be avoided, or it would be somebody else. And the reason why is because I see him as the next fighter, not the Teen Gohan, the future Gohan, because he's basically symbolically confronting the androids that terrorized his life, both literally and metaphorically, because the androids are inside Cell. So I would say these two fight, and the whole encounter, the whole thing with Android 16's head getting crushed and him going Super Saiyan 2, I feel like might actually still happen. And the reason why is because we see that half Saiyans are very emotional, right? Future Trunks gets very emotional when he sees that Gohan gets killed and becomes Super Saiyan. Future Gohan is very emotional when he sees all the destruction that's been done to his city in the original timeline. So I still feel like he goes Super Saiyan 2, because he just seen so much war and he just wants it to end, and he would ultimately defeat Cell and go back to his own timeline, obviously thanking the Z Fighters for all their help. Now we move on to the Majin Buu Saga. Things get a little bit tricky here, because we do not have Goten or Trunks. We obviously don't have Trunks because Vegeta's not with Bulma, and it's kind of hard to say if Goten would be there, because we know that Goku and Chi-Chi had 2 children and that Bulma and Vegeta had 1, so we know that they would have at least 1, but unless Bulma is opposed to having another child, why didn't she do so already? You know what I mean? So I think just to be safe, I don't think Goten or Trunks would be there. So we have an older adolescent Gohan who probably would have seen his older self as a Super Saiyan 2, so he would want to train to get to that point, so I feel like he would be able to achieve it as well. Kind of like the fact that the Gohan in the main timeline, when as an adolescent, he still could achieve Super Saiyan 2. Very similar to that. Now moving on, things will play out very similarly. World Tournament would be pretty much the same, minus the fact that there would not be Goten or Trunks. They would be replaced by 2 miscellaneous fighters who nobody really cares about. And then the whole thing where Vegeta gets possessed, right? Now, because they were buffed way in the Cell Saga, because they were training with each other rather than like training with Trunks and Gohan, Vegeta wouldn't be buffed as much, because training with Goku versus Trunks is a little bit different, although it's more of the rival boost. And obviously training with Goku and Gohan is very different, because Gohan was way weaker going into the Hyperbolic Time Chamber than Vegeta was. So they would both be much stronger in this fight, but I think it would still play out the same, because it doesn't really matter how strong Goku is. Vegeta caught him off guard, so Vegeta would move on to fight Buu, and no matter how strong Vegeta is at this point, even if he got buffed, he's still no match for Buu, especially since he can't achieve Super Saiyan 3. Buu kills Vegeta very similarly as before, but ever since the Buu threat was in place, because we don't have Goten and Trunks, I feel like Bulma would, in the present timeline, would be working back on that time machine to go seek help from the future Gohan that came to ask for help before. You know, kind of like a back and forth kind of thing. Now, in this scenario, I think they'd be able to get him back from the future and ask him for his help, and we know that Bulma can do this because she did this in Dragon Ball Super. Now, they would get him back from the future, and Goku would teach the Metamaru fusion to Gohan and future Gohan, right? It'd be a little bit, it's not like an adult fusing with a kid, because as you see Gohan in the main timeline, he's pretty much got the build of an adult, even though he's not quite there yet. Very similar. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be pretty interesting fusion, right? Except they're gonna be much stronger. They're gonna go on the Hyperbolic Time Chamber a second time, because remember, the first time in the main timeline was Goku and Gohan. Second time in the main timeline was Goten and Trunks, but this time it's gonna be Gohan and Gohan. The second time it's gonna going to be Gohan and Gohan, so they're going to get to know each other really well, you know what I mean? And they're both going to come out of there, probably individual Super Saiyan 3s, but definitely as a transformed Super Saiyan 3, because if Goten and Trunks can be only Super Saiyans and come out of Super Saiyan 3, then 2 Super Saiyan 2s are definitely going to come out of stronger Super Saiyan 3. Now, if they don't make short work of Super Buu at this point, now while this happens, Goku's going to get revived, just like he did in the main timeline, and he's going to be the one getting the unlocked potential boost, rather than Gohan. And as the fused Gohan fights Super Buu, I feel like there's a good chance that they would be absorbed, because you see Goten, Trunks, and Gohan all get absorbed, all which happen to be the children of Goku, Vegeta, Bulma, and Chi-Chi. So it's pretty safe to say that the children of Goku and Bulma would still get caught in there. So then Goku comes back similarly to how Gohan did. And I feel like they're going to do just about the same as originally. Goku may or may not have the upper hand a little bit. And the reason why I say this is because both Goku's going to be stronger than Gohan, because Goku was originally much stronger than Gohan. You could argue that Gohan had a higher potential, but I still feel like Goku, I feel like that's not necessarily true. I feel like Goku would still be greater than Gohan. And obviously, the fused Super Buu Gohan absorbed would be weaker than this Super Buu Gohan absorbed, because he's gonna have 2 Gohans which are gonna be stronger than the Gohan and Trunks. Again, you could argue that this Super Buu absorbed a potential unleashed Gohan which is stronger than this fused Gohan. That's debatable. Just to be safe, we can power scale and say they're around the same. So Goku, potential unleashed, would be really giving it to Super Buu Gohan absorbed. Now, this changes things a little bit, where we don't really have to fuse Goku and Vegeta. But assuming that they become Kid Buu earlier, there's a chance that Goku can still fuse with Vegeta, and we get potential unleashed Vegito fighting Kid Buu. And again, there's a lot of ways that this could play out. He could either eliminate him right there, or they could defuse because of the unforeseen time limit that we find out in Dragon Ball Super for mortals. And then the rest would play out as it did before with the Spirit Bomb. Because realistically, none of the other characters really had too much of an impact on the battle at this point. The only main difference here would be whether we get Oob or not. Again, it doesn't matter too much, because at this point in Dragon Ball Super, Oob isn't really a factor yet. He's been seen a couple of times in the manga, but he hasn't really been, we haven't really seen him fight yet or anything. But obviously, if we take this route, it would end up very similarly to before. The world goes back to peace, Gohan goes back to the future. Now, this is going to be very interesting in Dragon Ball Super in the Goku Black arc, but if you guys like more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you want me to make a part 2 where I talk about what would happen in Dragon Ball Super with the whole Goku Black arc, just let me know, and I'll catch you in the next one.